Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to another Fallout video here. So here's my review for episode 4. Really enjoyed this episode. Actually, this episode I think is probably one of the shortest of the season, but really great episode, especially if you want to know more about Cooper and sort of his backstory. And this really was the first one I would say that sort of got into some of the Ghoul storyline stuff and all that. So yeah, really fun episode here. So obviously this review will contain spoilers for episode 4, so I hope you're all aware of that. And as always, definitely make sure to be a subscriber if you want to get all my Fallout content. We're halfway through the series now, and it really is kind of hard to believe, but you can kind of see where the story is going here. They've really got into some stuff here as well with Vault 32 that seems to set up the overall, I guess, important story here with the McLean family specifically. So yeah, really awesome episode, but let's actually get into my review here. So in the very beginning, we do see the Ghoul and Lucy traveling, and again, I'm still wondering, like, what does the Ghoul want with Lucy? What's going on here? And he actually runs into another Ghoul here named Roger, and we learn a little bit about Roger, but again, it's more, I think, like, looking back at the scene now, it definitely was like they were trying to show, you know, what happens to people in general, and that was sort of the theme of this episode was, you know, what this world can do to you here. And it's kind of interesting because obviously we know what this world is like. And the way or the message ending this episode is sort of don't lose who you are, despite all the bad things happening, just don't lose who you are sort of in all of it. And Cooper is almost kind of inspired in the end, it seemed like, to actually become a better person or become who he used to be, right? And we sort of see a lot of examples of this, you know, with other ghouls and stuff throughout the episode. And the first one was with Roger. And yeah, obviously he hasn't turned feral yet, which was a very, very interesting thing here. And I guess the ghoul, obviously, or Cooper, he hasn't become feral or anything yet because he's just very good at getting bounties, I guess. The scene of Lucy drinking the radiation, I was actually, that was very cool. So I actually mentioned, I think in my episode 3 review, I was wondering when they were actually gonna get into some of that here, and she just gave into it, obviously, because we saw in episode 3 she was looking at the water and she was just like, do I drink it? And obviously she chose not to, but here she was just sort of forced to, like, she couldn't really wait anymore. And I do remember in the games you are able to drink the water and stuff like that for a little bit, you know, like you have a certain amount of radiation that sort of builds up or whatever, and then you can take like rat away or whatever and sort of get rid of that. But obviously here she was just like she needed it, right? Like she really did need it here. And that's what slowly, I guess, happens to people over time, is that you just eventually become ghouls, you know, like you just start losing so much of who you were. And I guess it's the vials that obviously, like, it keeps you alive. It keeps you, you know, from going, I guess, feral, really. And yeah, that was the journey that we see them going on here. And it was very, very interesting because yeah, again, like I was really curious as to where they were actually going the entire time. I was like, are you just with the ghoul because the ghoul just wants you to be sort of around? Like, I didn't really know what was going on. And then eventually we actually get to a place where, no, we actually learned that Cooper was trying to give Lucy to this place here so he can get vials. And it was going to be like 2 months of vials or something like that. So he would have been good for a while. And yeah, and then she goes in and then he passes out because obviously he needs a vial, and he's been going, you know, without one for a very long time. And then we then see the very iconic robot here that, I mean, obviously there's a lot of them throughout Fallout, but I just mean like the overall look. And yeah, the robot's name here is Snip Snip. Actually gives her finger back, which was kind of cool, but then wants to harvest her organs, which I was like, oh, okay, that's not better at all. And yeah, I just really enjoyed this part of the story. But there was another part of the story where we do see the Vault 33 story, or I guess more specifically the Vault 32 story in this one. Everyone in Vault 33, you know, they're still very frustrated that, you know, the Raiders are being kept alive, and it's obviously become a big issue here. And Norm, you know, obviously wants to, you know, just figure out what's going on here and just what exactly happened to Vault 32. You know, a lot of it didn't really make a lot of sense. And this is the episode that made me very interested in this storyline, because I was more interested in the stuff happening outside of the vault. Like, it just seemed like it was more of a, I don't know, a way more interesting story, which I will point out as well. Maximus, not in this episode as well. I'm guessing he'll probably be in the other one, but yeah, not in this episode at all. But Vault 32, you know, they eventually actually decide to go there. Norm does anyways, and well, Norm and the other guy, and they discover that everything has been completely destroyed. And not only that, that didn't happen recently. It happened a long time ago. So Raiders didn't kill everyone in Vault 32. Someone else did, which was a very, very interesting reveal here. And then we see Lucy, obviously about to basically die, and then she destroys Snip Snip, a really, really cool scene. I was actually very concerned about how she was going to get away, because it just didn't seem like there was really any way possible. I was like, is anyone going to come in and save her? Is there going to be another person we're about to meet? Like, what's going to happen? Because she seems to be like pretty trapped here. But no, she does actually get away, and it was a very, very cool action sequence. There's a Braxo, and I noticed it immediately, but it was really cool how it actually became a part of the story, because she uses the Abraxo and she's just like telling those two guys, like, you have to free all the ghouls here and all of that, or else, basically, right? And yeah, she actually succeeds in doing that. All of the ghouls are free, which is actually a good thing in some sense, but not all of them, because some of the ghouls were actually feral, which was really amazing to see. I believe this was actually our first time seeing a ghoul that was feral, right? And again, really incredible. Just like, it's accurate to, in terms of how they're moving and stuff anyways, like, you know, just how far they can jump, how fast they are and all that. Very accurate to the actual like games and stuff. So very cool to see all of that actually happen. And Lucy is now starting to understand why Cooper, or I guess the ghoul, is doing what he's doing, right? Like, Lucy still doesn't know that his name is Cooper. So there's that. There's probably going to be a lot more that they get into, you know, in episodes down the road. But now she's starting to understand, you know, why he does the things that he's doing. Because, you know, if he doesn't, then he's going to go feral, and he's basically, he becomes one of them, right? So that's kind of why he needs to be doing sort of the bad stuff that he's doing. But we then go to the other storyline, in which we do see Rose McClane and that whole reveal here. So in episode 1, Moldaver actually mentions that she knew Lucy's mom. And I was just like, okay, that seems to be very important. Like, just using that dialogue there in that episode, I was like, there's something more to that there. And now we're starting to see why. And I don't know if we're going to see her. I mean, it seemed like there was a flashback scene, and they actually cast somebody to play Lucy's mom, Rose. So I'm assuming that we're probably going to see her at some point here. But what was revealed here is that Vault 32 was actually opened from the outside, and it was opened with a Pip-Boy, which is the only way that you can actually open it. And yeah, it was Rose McClane, which is obviously Norm and Lucy's mother, right? So that reveal there was very, very fascinating, because now I'm just like, why did she do that? Is she a villain? Like what are they doing with the vaults? And now I'm just very, very fascinated in this vault storyline, because again, there's another vault as well, Vault 31. We still don't know anything about Vault 31, but that's actually a vault out there. So how are they all connected? I really can't wait to watch episode 5. But going back to the other storyline, Lucy, you know, she now understands why the ghoul is doing sort of what he needs to do to get those vials, and he actually does go inside. So he goes inside, and then he finds a lot of vials in there, and is like very happy, just sort of gets himself, you know, back up and everything. And then he finds his old film that he made, you know, before the nukes dropped. And we hear the line that he mentioned. We actually saw that the filming of this, I believe, in episode 2 or 3. And yeah, we hear the line that you got 2 of 3 of them, right? So basically saying that, you know, like, you lost your dignity at this point here. And Cooper is just, you know, sort of throughout all of this, remembering who he used to be, and is sort of like, you know what, maybe I don't have to lose who I was, you know. And that was the message that Lucy gave to him basically at the end, you know, because we did see Lucy sort of, you know, she gave into certain things. She had to like drink the water and all of that, right? But at the very end, she was just like, you know what, like, I may end up looking like you and all that, fine, but I'm not going to become you, basically, right? Like, I'm not going to change who I am. I'm always going to stay true to who I am, basically, throughout all of this. And I thought that was a very interesting twist in terms of, you know, the storyline, because going into the episode, you just see how, you know, just destructive this entire world is. It's such a harsh world to live in. And I just figured that Lucy was eventually going to learn, you know. But it actually kind of ends in a way where you're like, no, you know what? I think Cooper, he can learn a lot from Lucy, right? So yeah, very interesting scene. And overall, I thought the episode was pretty good. Again, it's a shorter episode, so like not a lot happened in here. And I imagine episode 5 is probably going to do the same thing. Like, as of now, you know, giving my predictions as to what episode 5 could be about. I mean, I've never watched it yet. I don't even know. I've never seen a preview, teaser, or trailer or anything like that for episode 5. I don't think there's trailers, but I'm assuming that we're going to pick up with Maximus again, which I hope, because he is my favorite character. I think we're going to see a lot more from his storyline, and then maybe some more stuff from the vault, because that is very, very interesting. Like, we're halfway through this. We have 4 more episodes left, and yeah, I'm just curious as to what's going to happen when they actually get to Moldaver, and because I feel like that's probably where they're going. I think that this is overall going in that direction there, and so when they eventually get there, what happens, what's in the scientist's head, like, why is it glowing blue? I can sort of see what this season is becoming here, and so I'm very interested in the next episode here. So anyways, I'll leave it here. Definitely post your thoughts down below on episode 4. Hope you guys all enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.